Welcome back. Let's read some more, but not United States. I like to read some of the older jet fighters, the jet fighter combat aircrafts. So I'll just do this, and then I will make some video in my language, Danish, after this, about this aircraft. But it was supposed to be in English too, but I have to do that later.
Bell P-59 Airacomet. P-59 redirects here. For other uses, see P-59, disambiguation. XP-59 redirects here. For the unrelated Bell XP-59 fighter, see Bell XP-52. The Bell P-59 Airacomet is a single-seat, twin-jet engine fighter aircraft that was designed and built by Bell Aircraft during World War II. It was the first jet produced in the United States. As the British were further along in jet engine development, they donated an engine for the United States to copy in 1941 that became the basis for the General Electric J-31 jet engine used by the P-59 a year later. Because the plane was underpowered, the United States Army Air Forces, USAF, was not impressed by its performance and cancelled half of the original order for 100 fighters, using the completed aircraft as trainers. The USAF would instead go on to select the Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star as its first operational jet fighter. Although no P-59s entered combat, the aircraft paved the way for later generations of U.S. turbojet-powered aircraft. Design and development, edit. The Powerjet's W.1 engine that was later to be produced by GE as the General Electric J-31. Major General Henry H. Hap Arnold became aware of the UK's jet programme when he attended a taxiing demonstration of the Gloucester E.28/39 in April 1941. The subject had been mentioned, but not in depth, as part of the TISAD mission the previous year. He requested and was given the plans for the aircraft's power plant, the Powerjet's W.1, which he took back to the US. He also arranged for an example of the engine, the Whittle W.1X turbojet, to be flown to the US on the 1st of October in a consolidated B-24 Liberator, along with drawings for the more powerful W.2B/23 engine and a small team of Powerjet's engineers. On the 4th of September, he offered the U.S. company General Electric a contract to produce an American version of the engine, which subsequently became the General Electric IA. On the following day, he approached Lawrence Dale Bell, head of Bell Aircraft Corporation, to build a fighter to utilize it. Bell agreed and set to work on producing 3 prototypes. As a disinformation tactic, the USAF gave the project the designation P-59O, to suggest it was a development of the unrelated Bell XP-59 fighter project which had been cancelled. The design was finalized on the 9th of January 1942, and construction began. In March, long before the prototypes were completed, an order for 13 YP-59, a pre-production aircraft, was added to the contract. The P-59 had an oval cross-section, all-metal stressed skin semi-monocoque fuselage that housed a single pressurized cockpit. The mid-mounted, straight wing had 2 spars plus a false spar in the inner panel. The electrically powered tricycle landing gear was attached to the center spar. The pair of General Electric J-31 turbojets were positioned under the wing roots in streamlined nacelles. The armament was located in the nose of the aircraft, 2 of the 3 XP-59s and most of the YP-59s had a pair of 37mm, 1.5-in, M10 autocannon. Later aircraft, including the production models, had one M10 autocannon and 3 0.5-inch, 12.7mm, and /M2 Browning heavy machine guns. The aircraft carried a total of 290 US gallons, 1,100 L, 240 imp gal, of fuel in 4 self-sealing tanks in the inner wing panels. Both production models could carry 1,590 US gallon, 6,000 L, 1,320 imp gal, drop tanks under the wings. In addition, the P-59B was provided with a 66 US gallon, 250 L, 55 imp gal, fuel tank in each outer wing panel. The crate prototype had been built on the second floor of a disused Trico Plant 2 factory, but its components were too big to fit through any elevator and required a hole to be broken in the brick outer wall to remove the first XP-59O. It was shipped to Muroc Army Airfield, today Edwards Air Force Base, in California on the 12th of September, 1942 by train for flight testing. The aircraft first became airborne during high-speed taxiing tests on the 1st of October with Bell test pilot Robert Stanley at the controls, although the first official flight was made by Colonel Lawrence Craigie the next day. While being handled on the ground, the aircraft was fitted with a dummy propeller to disguise its true nature. When heavy rains flooded Rogers Dry Lake at Muroc in March 1943, the second prototype was towed 35 mi, 56 kilometers, to Hawes Field, an auxiliary airfield of Victorville Army Airfield, later George Air Force Base, over a public road. After one flight on the 11th of March, security concerns caused the jet to be transferred to nearby Harper Lake where it remained until the 7th of April. 5 of the Airacomets, a pair of XP-59s, 2 YP-59s, and a P-59B had open-air flight observer cockpits, similar to those of biplanes, fitted in the nose with a small windscreen, replacing the armament bay. The XP-59s were used for flight demonstrations and testing, but one of the latter pair was used as a mothership for the other modified YP-59 during remote control trials in late 1944 and early 1945. After the drone crashed during takeoff on the 23rd of March, a P-59B was modified to serve as its replacement. During diving trials in 1944, one YP-59 was forced to make a belly landing and another crashed when its entire empennage broke away. Over the following months, tests on the prototypes and pre-production P-59s revealed a multitude of problems including poor engine response and reliability, common shortcomings of all early turbojets, poor lateral and directional stability at speeds over 290 miles per hour, 470 kilometers per hour, so that it tended to snake and was a poor gunnery platform. The performance was greatly hampered by the insufficient thrust from its engines that was far below expectations. The Army Air Force conducted combat trials against propeller-driven Lockheed P-38J Lightning and Republic P-47D Thunderbolt fighters in February 1944 and found that the older aircraft outperformed the jet. It, therefore, decided that the P-59 was best suited as a training aircraft to familiarize pilots with jet engine aircraft. Even as deliveries of the YP-59s began in July 1943, the USAF had placed a preliminary order for 100 production machines as the P-59 Airacomet, the name having been chosen by Bell employees. This was confirmed on the 11th of March 1944 but was later cut to 50 aircraft on the 10th of October after the procurement bureaucracy had digested the earlier evaluation. Operational Service, Edit. The 13 service test YP-59s had a more powerful engine than their predecessor, the General Electric J31, but the performance improvement was negligible, with top speed increased by only 5 miles per hour and a reduction in the time they could be used before an overhaul was needed. One of these aircraft, the third YP-59S/N, 42 to 108,773, was supplied to the Royal Air Force, receiving British serial RJ362/G, in exchange for the first production Gloucester Meteor I, EE210/G. British pilots found that the aircraft compared very unfavorably with the jets that they were already flying. 2 YP-59 Airacomets, 42 to 108,778 and 42 to 100,779, were also delivered to the U.S. Navy, where they were evaluated as the YF-2L1 but were quickly found completely unsuitable for carrier operations. 3 P-59Bs were transferred to the Navy in 1945-1946, although they kept their designations. The Navy used all 5 of its jets as trainers and for flight testing. Faced with their own ongoing difficulties, Bell eventually completed 50 production Airacomets, 20 P-59s and 30 P-59Bs. Deliveries of P-59s took place in the fall of 1944. The P-59Bs were assigned to the 412th Fighter Group to familiarize AAF pilots with the handling and performance characteristics of jet aircraft. While the P-59 was not a great success, the type did give the USAF and the USN experience with the operation of jet aircraft, in preparation for the more advanced types that would shortly become available. Variants, edit. XP-59. Unrelated piston engine-powered pusher propeller design developed from the Bell XP-52. Not built. XP-59O. Prototype of the new jet engine-powered aircraft, 3 built, serial numbers 42-1087844/1088786. YP-59O. Series of test aircraft, 13 built, serial numbers 42-1087714/1088783. YF-2L1. 2 YP-59O, 42-1087784/1087779, delivered to the U.S. Navy for carrier evaluation as BU 63960/63961. P-59O. First production version, 20 built, serial numbers 44-22609/22628. Redesignated ZF-59 in June 1948. XP-59B. Study for a single-engined P-59. P-59B. Improved P-59. 80 aircraft ordered but only 30 built, serial numbers 44-22629/22658, further 50. 44-22659/22708, cancelled. Redesignated ZF-59B in June 1948. Operators, edit. 1 United Kingdom. 1 Royal Air Force received 1 aircraft, becoming RJ362/G, in exchange for a Gloucester Meteor IE210/G. 2 United States. 1 United States Army Air Forces. 412th Fighter Group. 29th Fighter Squadron. 31st Fighter Squadron. 445th Fighter Squadron. 2 United States Navy. Surviving aircraft, edit. 6 P-59s are known to survive today. On display. P-59 44 to 22,614 March Field Air Museum, March Air Reserve Base, former March AFB, in Riverside, California. P-59B 44 to 22,633 Edwards AFB 44 to 22,656 Pioneer Village, Nebraska, in Minden, Nebraska. 44 to 22,650 National Museum of the United States Air Force at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base near Dayton, Ohio. In storage. XP-59 42 to 108,784 National Air and Space Museum. Under restoration. YP-59 42 to 108,777 as of 2020, being restored to flying condition by the Planes of Fame Museum in Chino, California. Specifications, P-59B, edit. Data from the American fighter. General characteristics. 1 crew, 1. 2 length, 38 feet 10 in, 11.84 m. 3 wingspan, 45 feet 6 in, 13.87 m. 4 height, 12 feet 4 in, 3.76 m. 5 wing area, 386 square feet, 35.9 m. 6 airfoil, route, NACA 66-014, tip, NACA 66 to 212. 7 empty weight, 8,165 pound, 3,704 kilograms. 8 gross weight, 11,040 pound, 5,008 kilograms. 9 max takeoff weight, 13,700 pound, 6,214 kilograms. 10 fuel capacity, 356 US gallons, 1,350 L, 296 imp gal. 11 power plant, 2 General Electric J31 GE5 centrifugal flow turbojet engines, 2000 lbf, 8.9 kN, thrust each. Performance. 1 maximum speed, 413 miles per hour, 665 kilometers per hour, 359 kN, at 30,000 feet, 9,100 m. 2 cruise speed, 375 miles per hour, 604 kilometers per hour, 326 kN. 3 range, 375 mi, 604 kilometers, 326 mi. 4 ferry range, 950 mi, 1,530 kilometers, 813 mi. 5 service ceiling, 46,200 feet, 14,100 m. 6 time to altitude, 30,000 feet, 9,100 m, in 15 minutes 30 seconds. Armament. 1 guns. 1 37mm M10 autocannon with 44 rounds of ammunition. 3.50 cal and /M2 Browning heavy machine guns with 200 rounds per gun. 2 rockets. 8x60 lbs, 27 kilograms. 3 bombs. 2x1000 lbs, 450 kilograms, an M65A1 or simply Mark 65 bomb. See also, edit. Aircraft of comparable role, configuration, and era. 1 de Havilland Vampire. 2 Gloucester E.28/39. 3 Gloucester E.1/44. 4 Gloucester Meteor. 5 Heinkel He-178. 6 Heinkel He-280. 7 Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star. 8 Messerschmitt Me 262. 9 Airacomet. 10 Sukhoi Su-9. Related lists. 1 List of aircraft of World War II.